All right, I'm Sellers from the Infamous Ghost Podcast. I'm here with Brian O'Halloran, man. How you enjoying Chicago so far?
You know, Chicago, I come to Chicago on business at least twice a year, so coming back to Chicago is always a lot of fun. I love this city. It's in my top 5 of all cities of all time. Great food town, great sports town, great people from all walks of life here, so it's always good to be back in Chicago.
I love that, man. We actually met before Twin Cities Con 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, it was so nice to meet you there. That was my first time meeting you. I had seen Clerks when I was like 8 years old. Probably shouldn't have, but one of my all-time favorites. What was it like filming that movie, and what was the audition process like?
Well, Kevin it was his first film ever, and he was auditioning people out of a theater that I'd done community theater out of. So this is before cell phones, this is before the internet. So the owner of the theater, Kevin, approached to say, hey, can I use your theater to audition actors for this movie I'm making? As a matter of fact, can you do me a favor and call up your stable of actors who've worked there? So the owner of the theater, Joe Bagnol, called me and left a message on the answering machine. Kids ask your grandparents what an answering machine is. It's like voicemail, but a physical box. So saying that these guys next month are going to be shooting this film and you're about the age they're looking for, you should come down and audition. And so I went down there and auditioned a month later, and I was auditioning, you know, they just make you do a monologue, and then I came back after the initial audition that night, like a week later, to read opposite Kevin. Kevin read the Randall lines, I was reading the Dante lines. He's like, what do you think of this? I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm like, who are they in the film? Because I didn't know what the film really was about. He goes, oh, well, the film's called Clerks, and there are 2 clerks, and this is one of the clerks.
Was there a script done at the time?
Oh, I'm sure there was a script at the time, but during the audition process, he didn't really hand scripts to us, just sides of stuff. But even then, I didn't read the side of Dante. I just did my monologue. And then he's like, thanks, we'll get in touch with you. And that's when he got in touch with me. That's when I finally read sides of the script.
Oh, okay.
And then we cast it, and then a few weeks later, we were filming it.
Great choice, Kevin, by the way.
Thank you, Kevin.
Man, did you think that film would have the legs it does now, 30-plus years later?
No, you know, back then we didn't know, you know, we thought it'd be just something that we would have a good laugh about and have a VHS copy to show friends, hey, look what we did one spring. To see it take up and just connect with that generation, with Generation X especially, at that time was a really happy surprise. But also it was amazing the fact that Kevin himself is a very prolific writer, and he had other ideas for other movies that he worked on literally year after year after year from that point. We had been working together. You know, he had made, you know, Mallrats after that with Universal Studios. Then we went back to Miramax for Chasing Amy, and then Dogma, which was then eventually released by Lionsgate, and then the Jay and Silent Bob movie by Dimension Films, and then we did a Clerks 2, and so forth and so on. And Kevin was creating that View Askew universe where all these movies are all connected at some way or another.
Yeah, that's so interesting, like how that movie spawned an entire universe. Well, really like spawned like a long career for Kevin. Do you think that with Clerks 2 and Clerks 3, like they had different vibes from the first movie? What did you like filming those movies the most?
Well, I mean, the most fun on any of the 3 Clerks movies had to be Clerks 2, just because every day was another fun thing that we did. You know, one day we're doing a big dance number, another day we're doing, you know, a go-kart track all day, another day we're seeing a donkey show. You know, there's a lot of things in that movie that were put in that was so good. Getting to work with Rosario Dawson and Wanda Sykes and Earthquake. These are the best of the best of their talent, and for us to be able to be a part of that world was amazing. You know, and when you look at the 3 movies, the first movie is us in our 20s, the second movie is us in our 30s, and then finally the third movie was like in our late 40s and, you know, early 50s. It's a way to take a snapshot of where these characters were in our lives. And, you know, the Dante and Randall characters popped up in the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back movie and reboot movie and stuff like that. We did the cartoon series as well. So there was a lot of way to keep in touch with those characters, and I always enjoy doing the cartoon. I hope someday we get to do the cartoon again.
I would love to see a cartoon again. I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed your performance in Clerks 3. I really felt like saying goodbye to Dante was hard, but it was a great book, like closing of that chapter in the Clerks universe. Now, with Jay and Silent Bob's Store Wars coming, Kevin has announced this.
Yes.
Like, what are you most excited for within the View Askew universe to see?
It's so funny. So now that Jay and Bob are legitimate business owners and having to deal their own kind of business, it'll be funny to see how Kevin writes them dealing with, let's say, competition coming in of other cannabis shops, because that's what happens when a state all of a sudden makes recreation illegal. Like, everybody wants to open up a cannabis shop. So I'm sure Kevin has a great script. He asked me to be a part of it at some point, so I look forward to reading the script and being a part of it. Who knows who I'll play, but no matter what he gives me, he could tell me, hey man, we're going to be on the subway station platform on 42nd Street in Manhattan. I'd be there. It doesn't matter what we're doing. Like, what are we doing? All right, where do you want me to stand? Because I know whatever Kevin's going to write is going to be funny.
Absolutely.
So I look forward to Store Wars. I look to eventually in a couple of years doing a Mallrats 2, that kind of thing.
Man, he spoke about that briefly at C2E2 when I first met Kevin.
Right.
And I feel like the studio is kind of in a limbo with that situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it is what it is. Like the problem with the studios is they have a high turnover of executives. Mm-hmm. So when one guy's like, oh, I'd love that idea, Kevin, come back to me and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then literally like 2 years later, that guy ain't even working for that company anymore. So that's the problem sometimes when you're making deals with the studios. It sometimes doesn't follow through. But the other thing, though, is it's a script that Kevin has that he's had for a while. He was going to make it into like a mini-series TV show, and then Universal's like, oh, we don't want to do anything TV-wise. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, all right, let me just make it a flat-out sequel. So once they're ready to pull the trigger on trying to finance it, but also the terrible loss of Shannon Doherty kind of put a little crimp into the script that we need to. That's a huge pair of shoes to fill.
Huge blow.
So once Kevin wants to figure all that out, and Universal's ready to do that, I think it'll be another absolutely funny movie.
Thank you. And to close things off, what has been the most rewarding part of this long career you have with such memorable movies that the fans enjoy?
Well, what it is the fact that I get to be amongst other creatives. Like when you come to these conventions and you got people like Eli Roth are here, or William Shatner, or Chris Kattan for that matter, a master of comedy. I get a big kick out of meeting them and talking to them in the green room or where have you. So that's the thing that I love. The fact that these fans have traveled with us for over 30 years of our movies. I've been very blessed and lucky to be able to work with Kevin in a lot of those movies and work with other people in the industry as well. That I know that I don't take anything for granted. I know that every day that I get up and people are enjoying this is another blessing on my life.
It was a pleasure meeting you, man.
Nice meeting you as well. Again, we met earlier, as you said. And hopefully we'll see you at Chronicon.
Oh, you will for sure. I'm moving back to Chicago.
Perfect. So Chronicon is going to be at the Chicago Hyatt O'Hare Hotel, October 10th, 11th, and 12th. Yep. It is the 30th anniversary of Mallrats, so maybe we'll be bringing some of those folks out to Chicago. So get your tickets now if you can to chroniconforreal.com.
Everybody go buy your tickets now. I'll see you there. Oh, just one last.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite View Askew Universe movie?
That's like asking a mother her favorite child, man. They're all very special to me. If you were to ask me how much fun, like I said earlier, Clerks 2 hands down was so much fun to make. But as far as, what's better than other, I don't like to do that to them.
Yeah, I understand.
All right.
Thank you so much, man.